You can't move it. Not yet.
Why not yet?
'Cause I heard Jason this morning. He went and sat down with Freddy Frias.
Episode 3 doesn't just end, it detonates. The final moment leaves us with a single haunting question. Who is Task's informant? For 2.5 episodes, Task has been this relentless, calculating figure who always seems to know more than he should. His timing is perfect, his moves almost prophetic, as though he can see through walls and predict the system's every step. But the ending throws open the door to a shocking truth. Task hasn't been working alone. Someone has been feeding them information. Someone close enough to the source to slip them secrets no ordinary operative could ever touch. And that's where the real mystery begins. Because the identity of this informant isn't just a side twist, it's the pivot point for the entire story. If we understand who this person is,
Why do we start this in the first place?
Aaron.
Because he killed your brother!
we suddenly understand what game is really being played. So let's dive deep, unravel the theories, and explore just how massive this reveal could be. The most obvious theory is the mole inside the system. Every fortress has cracks, every empire has traitors, and what better way for Task to stay ahead than having someone on the inside leaking intel? If that's true, the real question is how deep does the mole go? A low-level insider could slip him scraps, small details, but the kind of information Task has been acting on feels too precise, too valuable. That points to someone higher up, maybe a mid-level officer. Maybe even someone close to leadership. Imagine the shock if one of the system's most trusted faces has secretly been funneling information to Task all along. That wouldn't just be betrayal, it would be collapse from within. But here's where the theory complicates. If it is a mole, what's their motivation? People don't betray power without a reason. Are they disillusioned with the leadership? Did Task offer them something? Or, and this is darker, are they playing their own game entirely? Using Task as a wrecking ball to smash a system they want to reshape for themselves? The mole theory fits, but it spirals into deeper questions of loyalty, ideology, and manipulation. Now let's take the manipulator angle. What if the informant isn't an ally at all? What if they're pulling Task's strings, not helping them? Think about the precision of the information. Every lead takes Task exactly where they need to go. What if that's the point? What if the informant is deliberately shaping Task's path, guiding them into situations that serve their hidden agenda? Suddenly, every victory Task has had so far feels less like his triumph and more like someone else's design. And that flips the whole narrative. The Task isn't in control. They are being controlled. And here's the kicker. The manipulator theory doesn't just make sense. It's terrifying. Because it suggests Task isn't ahead of the system at all. He's been inside another person's labyrinth the whole time. The identity of the informant, in that case, won't just be shocking. It'll be devastating. It will reframe every single decision Task has made, every mission he thought he was winning. But what if it's personal? What if the informant isn't just a faceless insider or shadowy manipulator, but someone tied directly to Task's past? Think about how much more powerful that reveal would be. A former ally he thought was dead. A family member who disappeared years ago. Even a former mentor who switched sides. If the informant has personal ties, the entire story shifts. Suddenly, it's not just about strategy or information. It's about trust, betrayal, and unfinished history. The emotional fallout would be enormous. It would break Task in ways no external enemy ever could. And here's where episode 3's ending gets even more chilling. The way it leaves the reveal hanging suggests the identity is meant to sting, meant to shock not just the audience but Task himself. That subtle pause, the framing of the moment, it doesn't feel like the setup for some random insider. It feels like someone who matters. Someone Task will never be able to look at the same way again once the mask comes off. But there's one more theory, and it might be the most mind-blowing of them all. What if the informant isn't real? What if this entire idea of a secret ally is a fabrication, a smokescreen, carefully designed by Task's enemies? Imagine the brilliance of it. Feed Task carefully curated information, let him think he has a friend on the inside, and in doing so, lead him exactly where you want him to go. Every piece of intel he's acted on would be nothing more than bait, pulling him deeper into the trap. If that's true, the real reveal won't be a face. It'll be the realization that Task has been a puppet all along, and the strings are controlled by the very people he thought he was outsmarting. That kind of twist doesn't just shift the story, it detonates it. And here's the beauty. Every one of these theories fits. The mole, the manipulator, the ghost from his past, or the phantom informant, who doesn't even exist. Episode 3 doesn't just tease a reveal, it plants seeds for all of them, leaving us in the dark and forcing us to question everything we think we know. That's why this ending hits so hard. It's not about giving us answers. It's about opening the door to 1,000 possible truths, each one more devastating than the last. Because in stories like this, informants are never just informants, they're keys. whoever this person is, they don't just know things. They hold the power to flip the entire balance of the game. They can make Task stronger, they can break him, or they can prove he's been a puppet since the very beginning. The reveal won't just be about identity. It'll be about the moment when the truth redefines everything Task thought he knew. So who is the informant? A mole undermining the system? A puppet master pulling the strings? A ghost from Task's past who's about to rip open old wounds? Or the cruelest twist of all, a lie, an illusion, a phantom ally designed to drag him into his enemy's web? Episode 3 leaves us with all of these possibilities, and the brilliance is that every single one feels equally possible. The ending of the Task episode 3 came with the reveal that someone on Tom's team is passing information to the Dark Hearts. But who could it be? This episode of the HBO Limited series saw Tom's team finally get a lead after Robbie and Cliff made a desperate attempt to move the stolen fentanyl. They unfortunately chose the wrong person to recommend a buyer. Cliff had reached out to his old cellmate, who promised to provide a connection. Instead, this old pal broke into Cliff's home to steal the fentanyl for himself. It just so happens that Tom and his task force, which includes Aaliyah, Lizzie, and Grasso, planned to bust down Cliff's door that night as well. They got a tip from one of Peach's colleagues who had heard about the home invasions and knew that Cliff was involved as well. Task is now only inches away from discovering Robbie's identity, but somehow, the Dark Hearts have all the same intel.